And tonight I have two distinguished guests from the Gambia, Abdul Karim Wagan Fai from the Black Links, and also lawyer Dr. Almamy Taal. I will have these two gentlemen with us tonight. Mr. Taal, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kalilu. I'm very pleased to be part of your show today.
Okay. Yeah, we are also very happy to have you here, Uncle. We want to talk about the employment relationship in the culture and the media sector, which will take us also to the Collecting Society of the Gambia, because we are aware that you are the chairman of the Collecting Society of the Gambia, and there are new developments as today. There was a workshop for a new Intellectual Property Act. So we will want to shed more light on that. Mr. Wagan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm pleased to be next to my koto, Mr. Almamy Taal.
Yeah, great Wagan. It's been a long time. We've not been together in the media. We have done a lot in the previous years with regards to promoting Gambian music. And sometimes even, then they push under us sometimes.
Yeah, no, Carl. It's always positive. You and I, whenever we have discussions, is always positive. And I think it's because of great intentions that goes for both sides. That's why sometimes we don't get to see eye to eye. But it's always at the end of the day, we always get to see what's best for the industry. And and over the years, I'd like to say, on behalf of the whole industry, I know so many people have said so many negative things about you, but I would like to be among those who say thank you for your great contribution over the years, brother.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's just like that. It was all aimed to push the Gambian music industry, and particularly the Musicians Union of the Gambia, where I served for 2 decades. It was all on voluntary basis. Mr. Taal, I want to start with you tonight to tell us why the Collecting Society of the Gambia.
The Collecting Society of the Gambia is a creature of law. The Copyright Act of 2004 is the one that gave birth to the Collecting Society. But given the indifferent attitude of government then and now as well, it was not until 2012 that the Collecting Society was operationalized. And it has its fourth office where you have the new Gambia Hotel and Hospitality Institute, Tourism and Hospitality Institute. The first president of the Collecting Society, when it was established, was the former president of the Writers Association, Mrs. Sukai Mbai Bojang, who was also Secretary General of the NATCOM, UNESCO of the Gambia. So it is supposed to be a collective management organization for all the copyrights that are in the Gambia, whether it's music, whether it's literary, whether it's performance arts, or whether it's promotional activities. I mean, most of the countries, not only in Africa, but globally, look at this whole cultural and creative industry from an ecosystem point of view and a value chain point of view, that you have private individuals creating things that are protected by copyright. And these private individuals cannot be everywhere to protect their own rights. But it is in the benefit and in the interest of any society to make sure that creativity and cultural expressions are protected. This is why the Collecting Society was established. But I have to say, I mean, with my brother here, Mr. Fai, that he at some point had to even resign from the collecting society because after so many years of volunteering and trying to get this show on the road, we have had only challenges and difficulties from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. So
On
really,
tourism.
what has happened is that a shell of an organization has been created by law, but no resources has been made available to help manage the copyright that is generated or created by private individuals. In some countries, the law will be in place and the creators of the right themselves will be responsible for managing their right. I mean, in the sense that whatever they are supposed to collect is collected by the government and it is given to them to distribute or manage so that their particular sector of the industry grows. So really, the collecting society of the Gambia has not been effective or operational simply because the Ministry of Culture has neglected or refused to provide the necessary enabling legislation to make sure that the creators of rights are in the center of this whole business. Intellectual property is not a business that is about how would I put it? It's not that government creates intellectual property. It's actually the people who create intellectual property. So, in a
Yeah.
nutshell, I think that is my take about intellectual property protection in the Gambia.
Yeah, I just want to come there because in the Copyright Act, it was mentioned that the Collecting Society of the Gambia, the initial funding should come from government, and at the same time, the director, one of the director generals of the National Center for Arts and Culture, is a representative of the Collecting Society of the Gambia, and
Yeah.
which was intentionally the now Director General Hasum Sise. He was the copyright director, so he was the one representing the council, the center actually in the Collecting Society of the Gambia. Why there was
That is
no
true.
appointment made as to the law, the executive secretary and then the staff? Why?
The act did not mention what you said. The act just
Uh-huh.
establishes it. And
Mm-hmm.
in public law, what you have is that whenever government establishes an agency, it should provide the resources. About
Okay.
the executive secretary, about the staff complement of the collecting society, all of that was to be decided by the board. And
Mm-hmm.
you are right, the director, the executive director of NCAC is
Mm-hmm.
one of the directors of the collecting society. But that board has not had enough meetings to determine exactly how the collecting society should work on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
This is one of the reasons why for a long time you try to have meetings. And to be fair to the NTAC, they have been very helpful in this matter over the years. But
Mm-hmm.
what has happened is that since the change of government, there has been a shift away from promoting culture. Instead, tourism has become really the be end and all end for that ministry. I mean, very experienced people like Mr. Babas Sise, very experienced people like Alaji Modu Diouf have all been retired from that sector. And of course, if they reach their statutory retirement age, they should retire. But they have a wealth of knowledge that could have been used in other ways to get the creative industry. They were talking even about having a national troupe again. They were talking about, cultural festivals and things like that. All I'm saying is that these rights or these talents are not in the government bureaucracy. They are with the people. So it's for the government to help them make sure that those talents are exploited to the full. But all that the government seems to be interested in, at least in the Ministry of Culture, is these workshops and consultants and the main creative activities that could take this country forward, that could take the industry forward. These are not things that are considered as urgent or relevant. That has been my experience, and like I told you, I have been part of this industry pro bono for the last 15, 20 years. Every time they had some intellectual property law issue, I would be asked to help one way or the other.
Yeah, your network is like going. I don't. You are moving around.
Yeah,
But
there was
again,
a call coming in. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. So we had you.
Yeah, there was a call coming in.
Yeah, we had you, Mr. Taal. So I want to throw this question to Wagan and to you. 100 million Gambian dollars has been given out for COVID relief fund. Don't you think half of that budget, if it was spent on the CSG of the Gambia, it would have been operational and running as of now? This question goes to both of you.
Yeah, let me answer first. Maybe Wagan will come in. For me, I don't think the CSG to operationalize it would even require more than 2 or 3 million dollars. Really, the rest of the money should go directly to the artists and the creative community, because for me, it's not really about the bureaucracy. It's about how do you make sure that producers of right are empowered. They are in a very good position to have a livelihood. If you look at the creative industry across the board, you have that challenge there. Most of them are not Jaliba Kuyate, or they are not Jizul, or they are not ST. They are, ordinary people, not big stars or big draws. So my take is that if you have an organization that belongs to them, it should be able to do the daily work of organizing their resources, and those resources always come from the people. If you go to the stadium on open mic night, I'm sure my brother will not tell you how many, thousands or if not millions of dollars. But the work that goes into putting up that show is so important, and it is a whole year's work. And I think it's extremely important for all of us to understand that this ecosystem has to work in a certain way through the basic law that this belongs to Wagan and Co., this belongs to Almamy and Co., this belongs to so and so that these things, nobody has a controversy about it. Because the people who go to see the open mic show, they don't go there because of government. They go there because of the talent and the creativity they are going to encounter. The people who go to see you, it's the same thing. So that ecosystem is the one that needs to be serviced properly to help the artistic community to be successful, not only in music, but even in film, in other areas as well. So in the final analysis, I really think what needs to happen is not bringing out money from government coffers, because government itself doesn't have money. The money comes from the people through our taxes, through other levies, through other licensing fees. And all we're saying is that the creative industry deserves attention, it deserves investment, not from government, but from the people. It is for government to supervise that investment. It is for government to collect that investment and bring it back to the creative industry. So that's how I look at this thing. Unfortunately, the ministry is not in that mode. All that they want is banners or workshops or endless talking shops. And I really think it's just a waste of time, because Wagan will tell you yourself, Banja, you will observe this. every day you hear, oh, there's a consultant from Aripo. There is an expert from WIPO. All kinds
Yeah.
of things you hear on a daily basis. We want organizations that are effective. We want institutions that can make a difference, because you have a lot of temperament in the creative community. So to manage that, apart from the creative process itself, should not be something that they should impose on the industry. They should get experts to do that. And without the proper legal and regulatory framework, that is going to be very difficult to have. Because if I go to Peter Gomez's radio station and start asking them to pay for the music that Jizzle or STA is producing, they will laugh at me. They will say, what right do you have? What basis do you have to ask for something like that?
Exactly.
So really, for me, these are some of the issues. I mean, the investment that needs to happen for the cultural and creative industries to happen is really not all that much. It should be something very small from everyone. And when you collect that, you have a huge cake that can be sliced appropriately for the creative industries. I'll just stop here for a while.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We were losing you a little bit because of the movement. But Wagan, what do you say to that fact? Like the 100 million, if 10 million is pumped into the industry. Particularly, there was a time I was talking with someone and I said, if open mic could be able to have, for instance, as an institution, not open mic, black links, to be able to come up with a plan of action, like organizing festivals with an annual budget of 5 million. What do you think you can be able to do with that?
A lot, but okay. I think let me jump on the CSG issue first.
Okay.
Sometimes some of these things you don't even need so much money to get it going, but more of getting the ball rolling. Just enough assistance for it. It should be the the machinery should be able to feed itself, but
Exactly.
machinery needs that initial fuel to kickstart it and to get it going, and then from there. So sometimes, and that initial funding should not even be so much, but government needs to give it a kickstart, and government also needs to help in some of the implementation. Because as Almamy mentioned, I cannot just walk up to anybody and ask for monies on behalf of the creative industry. If you remember, this was in the previous regime when plastics were banned.
Exactly.
It practically just happened overnight because of implementation. We had all noticed that plastics were causing a lot of damage to our environment, but nothing could be done. But then one day, they just said, stop plastics. And within a week, there were no plastic, bottles or plastic bags anywhere around. So because government wanted to implement, play a part in the implementation. So yes, just give it a kickstart and help with the implementation of some of those things. Yes, as far as with also funding for certain festivals, I'm not going to personalize it, but yes, some of these festivals need initial funding as well. But going back to what I said earlier, beyond the funding, it's more of how to implement certain things, especially this year. This year has definitely been an ordeal for everyone. Things have not been normal for anyone, and one of the most affected industries worldwide is the hospitality industry, and entertainment would fall under that. So, I mean, entertainment has been highly affected worldwide, especially for a country like Gambia, with maybe the GDP of some people's personal wealth being more
Mm,
than the Gambia's whole GDP, which,
mm,
let's not do all that. But yeah, so if government should look at some of these things that add value to culture
mhm,
and to the culture industry and to other industries as well. But in this case, we're talking about culture,
mhm,
culture, creative industry. Look at what are the things that add value and help support those. The help should be multi-dimensional, not just financial, but
mhm,
yeah, a little bit of finance can go a long way. But
mhm,
beyond finance, putting easing up on some of the things, what has been adding value. Let's look at some of those. And I want to believe, in this case, I'll go a little personal. I want to believe Open Mic and Black Links has definitely been adding a lot of value to the
mhm,
creative industry, you know. So
mhm,
handpick some of the things that are gonna add value and have been adding value to the
mhm,
industry and
mhm,
help support those ease. That easing can come in a lot of, like I said, it could be multi-dimensional. It should be actually multi-dimensional, not just financial, but
mhm.
a little bit of a little token can also come a long way, with some of these things. Yes. But with regard to the monies that you said, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't know details about it for me
Mhm.
to speak much on it, or rather, I don't want to end up speculating and maybe causing more damage than good.
Okay, that is very clear. But I just want to inform you that we have what you call the endowment fund, which was established by the Parliament through the National Center for Arts and Culture, and it is
I,
basically to support Gambian musicians or Gambian artists technically and financially. Uncle, what do you say to that? Can you clarify that to us? The endowment fund, which was created by a National Center for Arts and Culture.
I think when they were talking about responses to the COVID, quite
Mm,
a few funds were mentioned. But the National Assembly's role stops at allocating resources to different priorities that the executive has brought in. Like I was saying earlier, for example, this Copyright Act, within it you have the establishment of the CSG, but
mhm,
that establishment was since 2004. So it took more than 8 years actually to have it established. So when it comes to endowment funds, one needs to be very clear uh, within which framework were they established. One and two, exactly how do you utilize the funds that are either deposited there or that are giving to rate.
mhm,
I just like Wagner said, I mean, some of these things, most of the time you just hear about it, but
mhm,
when it comes to practical implementation, it's very difficult to understand how or where the implementation is going to go. Because I'm aware of, for example, the Renewable Energy Fund, which is
mhm,
established under the Renewable Energy Act. This has been in existence for the last 6, 7 years, but not much has been done. So there is always this challenge between what Parliament allocates and how the executive actually operationalize it.
okay,
So if there is a special law on the Cultural Endowment Fund, I am not aware of that. But in the context of the COVID relief,
mhm,
so many funds were thought of, and even the private sector came up with its own arrangements. What I really would like to speak to is the inability or the reluctance of government to
mhm,
empower the creative community by supporting their activities not necessarily through cash transfers, but by creating the right environment where, for example, taxes could be taken out of their way, where facilities like the stadium could be made available to the creative industry, where music that is not very commonly played could be remastered and republished. Similarly for books as well. These are all things that government can do for creators of rights. For me, what I want the ecosystem to focus on is to give full support and full empowerment to the creators of intellectual property rights, because that is what is essential. Because once you have a hit with Kalilu Banja, he doesn't need anybody to make that a hit. It's the people who make it a hit. It's the people who will go to his show, who will buy the CD or who will buy the single, whatever it is. But the regulatory environment around that exchange is where government needs to chip in some resources. So in the final analysis, it is really about that. People are able to create, people are able to do things. Government needs to come in to support them realize their full potential.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yes.
that is very clear. I want to go back to Wagan. Wagan, we know that the Open Mic Festival have been employing a lot of people. Like in one night, can you tell us exactly how many young people are you employing in a night, so that we can be able to have a clear picture of how the cultural sector contribute to youth employability in the Gambia. If you can tell us something about that.
Easily 300 people if you count the artists, the band, the technical staff, sound system, security. Security is probably the biggest number that, but yeah, to 300
No, you
people.
asked me, Manila, no. They're my friend.
Yeah.
That was in respect of the car.
Hello, Mr. Almamy, Mr. Taal. Can you make your Gana? Wagan, continue.
Yes, we get close to 300 people. If you consider the whole Black Links artists, the band, the sound guys, camera crew, the whole technical team, plus ticketing and security. Yes, roughly about 300 people for that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so you're talking about artists, you're talking about producers, you're talking about camera crew, you're talking about the sound system and all that. You employing them in the night. And does it go beyond that, even before the actual festival?
Yes, because before the actual event, you also have to think about printing, the radio stations, the TV. So we'll definitely be supporting some of those businesses. And there are also other businesses, even outside of the direct entertainment industry, like maybe carpentry, because building the stage and all of these things, some handymen, you need handymen to come in there and build some of these things, electricians, all of those things. I mean, it's a big event, so you want to make sure, no stone is left unturned. So we go across the board. So, outside of the one night, also the other businesses that you get to support, as I said, printing, radio, different media companies, and carpentry and all of that. Yeah, electric. So yeah, it's relatively a huge number, not yeah. And considering also all the other events that are happening during the year. Some of them might not hire as many people, but no matter, I mean, even if it's 2 or 3 people you're hiring, you're still putting food on the plates of 2 or 3 people, and understanding the fabric of Gambian society. Those 2 or 3 people that you're hiring for that night are also getting to feed other members of their family. That's just how the fabric of our society is built.
Okay. Can you give us a rough statistic of how many income that you are having in that one night? A rough one. We don't want to. It's not
Well,
about. Yeah.
yeah, our budget on the last, not in 2019, but in 2018, our budget went close to $3 million. That was how
Okay.
much we ended up spending. That includes all the fees for the band, the stadium, sound system, artists, and all the staff. And keep in mind, all the staff you also have to pay at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So our total budget went up to close to $3 million, which
So three
we is
million
something
was
we,
what you were spending to get the festival done.
yes, yeah.
So and then the outcome at the end of the day in 2018 and 17. Do you make any profits?
Yes, I think the one year that we definitely took a huge loss was last year financially.
Mm.
Financially, we took a huge loss. Yes, but apart from that, we've managed to survive. We've managed to survive and maintain it over the years. That's why
Okay.
we always that's why there's always been an increment in pay raise for everyone as well.
Exactly. Yeah, because I must say this, and I am very much delighted that most of the people I know who are working with the Black Links, one can say, in their own rights, they are progressing because we can see progress in all the people that you are employing. That is an indicative, part of it. I can say that for sure. But again, Mr. Fai, do you
Yeah.
have any internal or external funding to be able to support you in the in coming up with the Open Mic Festival?
The open mic is mostly funded by the ticket sales, but
Okay.
over the years we've had sponsors or partners, as we like to call them, who
Mm-hmm.
also uh, in cash and in kind. I think a lot of us know how sponsorship goes in Gambia. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, they'll help you with things you need, in terms of promotion, which also does count. You can't discount that, and they'll give up some cash. But apart from that, no. The last year was about the well, UN over the years has supported, and yep,
Mm-hmm.
they've
And
also
yeah, yeah,
supported on.
and yeah, yeah, for the Youth Empowerment Project. Okay.
Yeah. So can't we want to say thank you to them for that. But last year
Mm-hmm.
was the first time we had external support from Goethe
Mm-hmm.
Institute, and yes, they did support in some way financially, but the support they were given was beyond finances, but more of training. They were also helping us with training some of our staff as far as
Mm-hmm.
video production, audio production, and some other members of the media. So they helped in that capacity as well. Yes.
So I just want to make that clear. So is the funding basically for co-production between Goethe Institute and the Black Links? Because I know
Yes.
for a fact there is a co-production fund annually that Goethe Institute is distributing out to the creative sector all over the world, and the amount range from 20 to 25,000 euros. You get 25,000 euros.
I wish. I wish. Not even close. Uh, you know, I, I, I
I'm in
wish
Germany.
we
I'm in
had.
Germany, so I know about the phone. I've been sharing the phone
Well,
different networks in Africa, in Kenya, in Ethiopia. And then, the Gambians, a lot of Gambians could not apply it because they don't know about things like that. But I know it's the co-production fund. So was it 25,000 euros?
Like I said, I wish it was not even anything close to that. Last year, how they supported us was
Mm-hmm,
because we want to expand to 2 nights. So that was
mm-hmm,
one thing that they were willing to help with. They funded, they rather um, made the international, they handled the international artists for us.
like they paid the
Like,
international, performance.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like Baba Mal, but they also have a relationship with Baba Mal, so it didn't cost them as much money, but obviously
Mhm.
it had to cost. So yes, that's where they came in, and they also helped in training some of our locals. You
Okay.
know, they helped
Mm-hmm,
the video production. They did some training for our guys in video production, audio production, and sound, and the media as well. They helped some to do some training with some of those guys.
mm-hmm,
Yes, which was very much appreciated. You
mm-hmm,
know, all the help you can get. Like I said earlier, help does not only have to come financially,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Technically.
but
Mm-hmm,
yes, in more ways than one. So
mm-hmm,
yes, I just don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. But yes, they did help us financially as well. So, but I
mm-hmm.
just don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. Like, boy, you need your wagon,
No, no, no,
25
no.
million.
What I want to say here, what I want to sell here is to let the Gambian people know that that was the
There's
right
funds
step
out
in the right
there.
direction to get
Exactly,
open mind internationally, to have that cooperation with international partners, so that
exactly.
the
There's
product.
funding out there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's funding out there for all of us to access. You know,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
yeah, from I think the British Council, so America, Europe, all over Europe. It's all over the world. There's funds to be accessed that
Mm-hmm.
but obviously this is not money that's just coming directly to your pocket. When you get
Mm-hmm.
it, also you have to first prove that you deserve the money. That
Exactly.
you've done
Exactly.
something to deserve for them to give you that money. And when you get the money, you also
Mm-hmm.
have to use it for work. It's
Now
not personal.
look at the music school. A brighter example was the music school, the Dennis NGO Forum that normally organized the Roskilde Festival. They were the ones who supported the music school, and it was just a pilot.
Exactly.
It was a pilot project, so it was an international fund. So, but what is
Exactly.
important is Open Mic trying to exploit that international partnership was very important because the production will be available to the international audience also, which is another step in the right direction to get Gambian
Certainly.
musicians internationally.
Out
I
there.
want you to buttress on that part, which is very
Yes.
important.
So last year we tried to make that move. We did make the move actually.
Mhm,
Unfortunately, the our local audience did not get. But I also have to take some of that blame that we didn't explain it to them well
mhm,
enough and clear enough what we were trying to do.
mhm.
So I'm not just going to blame the local audience. We also
Yeah, we
have to take
agree. We
some
agree.
of the
Yeah.
blame for not getting the information out there to them. I guess we assumed, oh, it's the open mic. We just wanted them to come see something bigger and crazier. Unfortunately, they didn't buy into the idea. But
Mhm.
yes, there's funding out there. There's funding out there to help you grow what it is you're doing. So
Exactly.
in Gambia, I think we all know that you get to a certain point and you climax, and to grow beyond there is very hard.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've heard so many people blame so many of our elders. But I have to commend people like Jaliba that regardless of someone like Jaliba Kayate, regardless
Mhm.
of all the obstacles, he's
Mhm.
still striving and keeping on.
Mhm.
So I mean, Gambia can be very challenging for all of us. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to have the opportunity to break some of these grounds, I
Mm-hmm.
wish the local audience knew what it takes to actually get some of those things accomplished.
Exactly, exactly. I totally agree with you. And it seems like we have lost Almame, so we have almost like another 20 minutes to wrap up this show.
Okay.
Is Almame around?
Is what?
Almame, we lost Almame. So, were you today invited to the workshop of the National Center for Arts and Culture, where they have a workshop on the Intellectual Property Act, a new act that is coming into being. So they want to send it out to the national parliament so that they can amend the law because previously they had the Collecting Society of the Gambia, which you were an executive, and now they want to scrap it out. But Dr. Tal is telling me that they are, the collecting society is still mentioned there, but they giving opportunity to independent CMOs like collecting societies to be able to establish through registration in the Gambia. Are you having any intention to come up with a collecting society as Black Links? Because I can remember there was a time you want to showcase what you call an online app where Gambia music could be marketed. Hello, am I lost in Wagan too? Hello? We have a comment right here. I think for the Collection Society of the Gambia, an independent approach is needed since the government is not supporting the
Uh,
creative. Yeah. Wagan,
uh,
are you back? We are not getting you.
I'm back. Yes, I don't know what happened. You
Yeah.
know, Ga-
Yeah, yes, I think something went wrong, but you are back again. I can see you. Okay, so I was just
Gambia.
saying, yeah, so I was just saying, are you having, because I was aware that you had wanted to create an online platform where to be able to, sell Gambian music. Um, um, uh, do you think with this new law, you will be able to come up with a collective society? Are you having that intention, like Black Links, to have a collective management body?
Well, we are still trying to work on the app. It took a long time and it took a lot of money. Unfortunately, it never got off the ground. But just today, I had another meeting with regard to that. So, we're still not giving up on that. We're still not giving up on the idea. And I'm
Mm-hmm,
sure eventually it'll kick off, inshallah. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. As far as the collecting society, not really. I had to actually resign personally
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
collecting society because of all the challenges that it posed. And I realized that, I wasn't adding any value to it. And not
mm-hmm,
only that, but it was actually taking away from what I was doing.
mm-hmm.
So I just decided it was best for me to just resign from it officially.
Okay, okay. So, but when you were there, what do you think was lacking generally with the collecting society? What do you think was lacking? Is it because of knowledge, because of inadequate knowledge of the executives, or there was no financial support from the government?
Well, more things than one. I think,
Mm-hmm,
a lot of us, we had great intentions, but
mm-hmm,
I'll take myself as an example.
mm-hmm,
My knowledge about copyright and collecting royalties is very
mm-hmm.
limited.
It's
Is very
limited.
limited. Yeah, so I'm not gonna, yeah. But then also, a skeleton was created with no flesh. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there was no muscle to help that skeleton stand up and be firm on its feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of things, commitment from the different members and all of that. Yeah, it just, for me, it just went to a point I was just putting up too much of my own resources for
Yeah,
something that was
incorrect.
not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Carl, I think you can also bear witness because it happened to you as well with
Exactly.
the music union. So it just went
Exactly.
to a point, there wasn't anything I could do any further. It was just best for me to walk away from it and, concentrate on my personal things.
Exactly. And someone is suggesting here, Pa Usman is suggesting that the COVID money, like I was saying before, if half of that money was spent on the collecting society, like Carl, COVID money should not be used to empower the collecting societies. This should have been done long time ago. So it shouldn't be used. He was saying it shouldn't be used. No, we were just saying that maybe a 10 million, not something, a 3 million Gambian dollars, he could have greatly supported the collecting society than Wagan spending his own money to go to the office and then to be able to gather people, to be able to sensitize the people. The government could have come in to support, the collecting society. That is what we were talking about. And are you intending to go virtual this year with the open mic, because this is the new, can we say, the new world order, and because of COVID-19
Uh,
impeding all
yeah,
the sector? What do you intend to do with the open mic festival?
yes, we're definitely going to do it, inshallah. And we
Mm-hmm.
were planning, because we had already started planning on going virtual with it. But
Mm-hmm.
now that have been eased up in Gambia,
Mm-hmm.
um, we're just going to take it from there and see where it goes. 2020 has just been a crazy year for everyone. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, speak too early. I don't want to speak too early. We still have, about 8 weeks to go in 2020, and within
Mm-hmm.
that period, anything can happen. Yes, we were intending to go virtual, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we do a live event. We'll still find a way of going virtual with it, inshallah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just gonna see. We have 2 months to be able to organize the open mic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough challenge because usually by now we had already been in mid stride. A lot of things had already happened, but this time around, we don't even know what to say or what to do. But inshallah, we will make sure we pull something off. Inshallah.
No, but I think, yeah, but I think if the nation is allowed to do musical festivals, like if the government give you the freedom, I think this year open mic will be great, because people have been yearning for performance. A lot of people who enjoy going to shows, they've been sitting for 6 months without going to shows, so that can also trigger, like, having a lot of people, I know, at the festival.
Well, let's just see. Like I said, I don't want to make any predictions about
Mm-hmm.
2020 or open mic, considering also what happened last year. We're just gonna give it our effort. Make the best that we can do, but we'll definitely do something, inshallah. Yeah, and just I hope this time around, because we still intend to do the 2 nights. I hope people
Mm-hmm.
get to understand the growth that we're trying to do with the industry. I think if people know us over the years, they should know that we've always had the best intention of the industry at heart.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're just trying to grow to eventually be an international festival recognized
Mm-hmm.
worldwide, inshallah. So that's the journey we're on now.
Okay. I just want to
Yeah.
say that greetings from Faxcolly in Australia.
Yeah,
Hi, he said, Wagan, my favorite guy in the gum music scene. Yeah, Fax, very true. Big up to you, Fax.
yeah.
So
Shout out to Fabs, man, and the whole crew, man.
yeah, Wagan, so you are saying your direction is to get international, and then that is the reason the cooperation with Institute was very important.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say to the Gambian musicians, particularly those you've been
You know,
entered into contract with?
well, I'm gonna. Okay, I think Gambia over the last decade, we've definitely registered a lot of growth as far as music is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
and as local, we have almost. I can almost say we've conquered Gambia as even if not every corner and every person in Gambia, we've made such great strides in Gambia. There
You're
isn't
talking about
much
black links.
more.
You're talking about black links.
No, no, no. The whole music industry, the whole music
Industry,
fraternity.
per se. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
I get. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we want the Gambian music industry to start crossing beyond Gambia. You know,
Exactly.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
we don't just when we come to Europe or to go to America or even outside the Gambia to just play for Gambian audiences. We want to play
Mm-hmm.
for an international audience,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
to do that,
So
we have to get the
what do
playing
you say?
field. Yeah.
So I'm not getting you. So what do you say to the fact that to the view moving from the club performances internationally to festival style? Is it that you are trying to penetrate?
Yeah, different. Yeah, because I mean, definitely, that was one of the things we were trying to do with the Goethe Institute, because
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, the Roskilde Festival, they have a lot of connections with a lot of different festivals. So
Exactly.
I think they were going to be a gateway to the festival world. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, there are certain artists that can be catered for, the likes of Royal Messenger,
Messenger,
Barhama, Bobadimo, Jali Madi,
Jalimadi.
Tata Din, Sambu Suso. Those are the kind of artists that you can take to festivals, and they
Mm-hmm.
will definitely. So even though it might not have catered for every Gambian artist, but there are certain artists who that would have worked very much in favor for, and we're
So I,
still
I,
working.
I just want us to break down that. What makes you to say that it will be able to cater for those kind of artists? Because that is very important, so that the other artists could also work on that, to work
Well,
on professionalism. Because a lot of people will argue that a lot of Gambian artists technically they are lacking a lot of stuffs. Can you break down that?
certainly,
What do you normally
and
look into
and
as humble?
also the abilities as a singer, because okay, let's
Exactly.
say if you're a rapper, you know
Mm-hmm.
um yes, I'm not saying the rapping thing cannot cross borders. Yes, it can, but it's easier for the singers. Someone like Jelly Madi or a Bobo Demo, you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
know what exactly it is that they're saying
Mm-hmm.
for you to like what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike a rapper, what they're saying also matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the singer, it's more about the melody, you know, and
The
all of the things.
composition, the
Yeah,
composition.
the drums. Yes, it's
Mhm.
more of the whole package.
Exactly.
This guy has a great voice and all of that. But for a rapper, it's more about, yo, did you hear what he just said? And
Hmm.
if someone doesn't speak your language, that
Hmm.
becomes a barrier. That
Hmm.
becomes a barrier. So, but with this connection, this was going to be another connection.
Hmm.
You have to open as many avenues. Once we have some people going into the festival worlds, and you have others who come to Europe to play in the clubs, once we could manage to penetrate different music markets, that
Hmm.
gives us more options.
Options.
So
Exactly.
yeah, that's all we're just trying to say. Not that any one of them was immediately going to win some award, But once you're in the playing field, that's where you have the opportunity to start winning those awards. You cannot
Exactly.
win an award. You cannot win Champions League when you're not playing in Champions League.
In Champions
You
League,
want to win
exactly.
Champions League, you have to play in Champions League.
In
You
Champions
want to
League.
win a Grammy Award, you have to play where the Grammy Awards winners are playing. You have to be on the same platform as those guys. You know, so
Exactly.
that's all it's driving at. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So
we
I think
manage.
it was important. It was important. This is very important, Wagan. The cooperation with Goethe Institute, because part of their funding requirement is to get the production is to get the production available to the international audience. So no one knows
Certainly, yes.
which festival
Who's
is going to
watching?
and recommend,
Yeah,
yeah, the artist who is playing. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. Exactly. So that's what we're trying to do. You know, hopefully our local audience will catch up to all of those things, and we'll just see how it plays out, inshallah.
Okay. I just want to thank you so much, Mr. Five, for joining us tonight on GAMS Showbiz in Focus. As you can see,
Thank you
yeah,
very
we
much.
are to start this conversation in the creative sector, to be able to get professionals like you to share your experience with the young generation, and also to the industry players, so that we can all be on the same level with regards to creating a vibrant creative sector in the Gambia. So I thank you once again, and with your family. Shout out to Muna, and the whole family. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you
us.
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Carla. And once again, thanks for everything you've done for the industry over the years. And say what's up to
Okay.
Paos.
All right. Thank you. He's hearing you. He's online at the moment. Thank you so much. And this is the end of our program tonight. Apa, are you online? Okay. So, viewers, I want to say thank you all. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Kalilu Banja. Until next week, Saturday. Bye-bye.